And now we are watching this one. Blizzard's StarCraft FPS is real. Launching this year? Oh god. From 6 days ago. Guys, do we really want Blizzard to make a new game? We all know how this will end, right? Do you look forward to the new Blizzard game? No. I haven't looked forward to a Blizzard game in over a decade. Oh god, oh god. Yeah, I actually not even looked forward to Overwatch. Oh. Oh, that's bad. Let's see what this is about.
All right, this is awesome. It looks like finally this year at BlizzCon, we're going to get a new FPS game from Blizzard, and it's going to be a Star.
What do you mean new? Oh, wait. Yes, Overwatch is an FPS game. I completely forgot about that. Completely forgot that Overwatch is an FPS game. Oh my god. Brain fog.
StarCraft game. Now, you might remember, Blizzard has actually cancelled, well, 2 StarCraft FPS games. You had Ghost, which was cancelled, the famous console game, obviously, where you played as a ghost. It was cancelled. It never actually reached.
That was, by the way, early 2000s. Yes, early 2000s, not 2010s. 2000s. So, over 20 years ago.
Any kind of like finish point in its development, although there is footage of that game out there, but obviously it was all pre-release stuff. I think it was taken from an E3. And then there was Ares, which was this it was a take on Battlefield meets StarCraft, which could have been quite interesting.
Would have been awesome, but well, actually there is no but. Would have been awesome. Everyone would have loved that.
But that was cancelled back in 2019. Anyway, take a look at this because it is super cool. So this is Windows Central, and Jez Corden is reporting here. He's like heavily into Windows, Xbox reporting, and he's going over what's going to come to Xbox in the year and all of that stuff. And obviously Blizzard's owned by Xbox now. So we've got a bunch of information here we can actually go over. And of course, we're only interested in the FPS stuff. But what we've got is this
okay, of course, yeah.
At BlizzCon 2026, I thoroughly expect to see new expansions revealed for Diablo, which goes without saying, I guess. Alongside World of Warcraft's The Last Titan, we should also get major updates for Overwatch and Hearthstone, and potentially other new mobile game reveals. There has been long-held rumors of an Overwatch mobile game on the horizon, for example, and I've heard another Warcraft mobile game project is in gestation. Now, I think we should probably just touch on that for a second because, yeah, there is a Overwatch mobile game in development. It's been in development for a while. We can piece some kind of bits together with the actual lead of the Overwatch franchise and I think of mobile and live game development was out in China recently.
Of course. And to be fair, I think Blizzard can only make money now on mobile, because on mobile you get a completely new audience, because the old audience basically is gone. I think the majority of people that grew up with Blizzard they are gone because Blizzard is dead. It's just a husk. Everyone that loved Blizzard games, they're gone. And they don't expect anything from Blizzard anymore. I mean, the only thing I expect from Blizzard now is did they fail? Because everything I've seen in the past years from Blizzard is that they just fail with everything. It's horrible.
I think that's got something to do with the mobile game and the teams they're working with in that region for it as well. But I fully expect to see that something that will get announced this year at BlizzCon if it doesn't launch earlier. I think that's definitely going to be a thing. So a mobile version of Overwatch is 100% coming. But what's interesting here in this article is it says the headline...
We'll also have more players than Overwatch 2, which is not hard. I don't think there are a lot of people playing it.
BlizzCon 2026 is most likely going to be StarCraft. It was previously reported that StarCraft is getting a third-person shooter treatment, and I confirmed these rumors were true via my own sources a while ago. And then goes on to talk about what Bethesda could get and all of that stuff. But of course, we're only focusing on the StarCraft stuff here. But isn't that interesting? So you may also remember as well, Blizzard were actually hiring for developers to work on an open world shooter. So if you come over here and take a look at this with me, you can see this is taken from VGC.
Open world means no story. And it's going to be very boring. Because that's what most open world games are. They're boring. There's nothing actually to do there. You're just walking around. And maybe you have some spots of interest. And that's it. Which is boring.
And this is back in November the 15th, 2024. But yeah, they were basically looking for developers to work on an open world shooter game. And they weren't actually explaining what that was. It was just a very ambiguous job sort of description on their website. Obviously, these are not live anymore, so I can't show you them. But what is interesting is it is by the ex-Far Cry boss, Dan Hay, who, of course, moved over to Blizzard to work on an unannounced project. So this is LinkedIn, and...
My question is, wait. From which Far Cry? Were all Far Cry games developed by Crytek? I don't remember. The first one, yes, but after that? I really don't remember. I don't remember. And to be fair, Far Cry is meh. It turned into meh.
Yeah, this is Dan Hay. You can see his description. He now is a GM and vice president of Blizzard Entertainment. It doesn't really explain what he's doing. He just says he's a strategic leader in AAA game development, specializes in building and scaling world-class teams, live service ecosystems, and revenue-generating franchises. I thrive at the intersection of creative vision and business strategy, ensuring games reach massive global audiences while maintaining innovation and engagement. And yeah, he just says, look, he's a vice president and GM, but what is he doing? Well, this guy worked for 10 years at Ubisoft, and yeah, he was. You can see his list.
Creative director Far Cry, franchise executive Far Cry. Yeah, that does not make me be excited, to be fair, because it's Ubisoft. It's Ubisoft. Why would I be excited about this news? Would anyone? Far Cry Primal, that didn't do very well. Far Cry 4 did also not do well. Far Cry 5 did even worse than Far Cry 4, when I remember correctly. So, no one cares about these games. Senior producer Far Cry 3, okay. Far Cry 3 was good gameplay-wise. Story-wise, maybe, but the good characters in the game were so unlikable. I always wanted to see them die.
Right? So he's Far Cry producer, executive producer, then he's a franchise executive producer on Far Cry, franchise executive director on Far Cry. So I guess like what I'm trying to say here is, what does all of this mean? What could we be looking at in terms of a a StarCraft shooter? Well, we've got the Far Cry boss who has been working on game development at Blizzard for over 4 years now, and this game is going to get announced, we believe, this year. What could it look like? We know that their initial project of a third-person shooter, Ghost, didn't work. That was years ago, though, so I don't think we can really count that as a modern attempt. But the game from 2019, like I said, I firmly believe, according to my sources, that that was a Battlefield-style game. It was StarCraft Battlefield with like 3 factions basically on the same map fighting each other for area control. I think there were comparisons that could be made to PlanetSide, which I kind of distinctly remember making these comparisons a while ago to PlanetSide. But
yeah, PlanetSide, man.
Fire up the PlanetSide.
Haven't heard that name in a while. But actually, I think last year someone mentioned it on stream in the chat. But that's it.
Trailer. and you'll see what I mean. Yeah, so this is the PlanetSide trailer from like 13 years ago now. Well, basically, PlanetSide was this massive, persistent war where you could join one of 3 factions. And you were constantly fighting for control over the territory. It never ended. If Blizzard could do something like that for StarCraft, I think it'd be really cool. Because I think what they might be trying to do is, if you think about it, try and take inspiration from games like Helldivers and put that into a StarCraft style. I mean, hell, it might even be just a third-person shooter like Helldivers, cooperative, and you go against, you're just Marines against the Zerg. It could just play out like that, and then maybe throw in the Protoss, possibly the Xel'Naga as well you could throw in, or it could be you can play as those iconic races against each other. I think it's going to be really interesting. Also, this...
I actually agree. Now, do I believe that modern Blizzard can do that? No. No, absolutely not, no. At least not in a way that people would like it. I don't believe that. Not for a second.
Trailer really does show its age. But yeah, I think I used to love playing as I used to fly the Mosquitoes all the time. As the Terrans, I loved it. I absolutely... In fact, there's videos on my channel of me, like, I've got guide videos of how to pilot the Mosquito. I was an absolute weapon with that thing. Amazing. Oh, this is amazing. Also, you've got to take into consideration the key art for BlizzCon. Now, typically, when Blizzard releases the art for an upcoming BlizzCon, it will include characters from franchises that will feature prominently in...
Yeah, never seen this guy before, ever. Who is that? Is it a guy from Overwatch? Might be, I don't know. I mean, StarCraft, Lilith from Diablo, where we still don't have a Diablo, Warcraft, yeah.
The showcase. Now, obviously, we've got Thrall there, or Thrall. We've got Diablo woman. What, I forgot. Lilith. That's Lilith, right? Anyway, Diablo woman. We've got a StarCraft Marine, and then we've got Doomfist, looking fancy in Hearthstone cards. I mean, given the placement of the Marine, it probably indicates that, hey, we're the main sort of show, and get ready for it. But it might not be. Again, take it with a pinch of salt. But generally, they do feature.
By the way, I don't even like the art style they have here. I don't. They've done way better art back in the day, but I would guess different artist.
The game, which is going to sort of be the main, selling point of the event. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, I am friggin' hyped for this. It's about time Blizzard did something new. If they can produce and deliver another FPS game, sign me up for that. The StarCraft universe, I love that anyway. It just depends what they give us. I think in my wildest dreams, I'd love that PlanetSide style, massive, never-ending combat, fighting over a planet or even multiple.
Yes, sure, but can Blizzard do that? No, I don't think so. No.
Planets, and there's just constant war going on. That'd be really cool. But I'd take a Battlefield style game if they want to go back to that, or I would even take a Helldivers style cooperative game where you complete missions and objectives. It would be really interesting if they put together something like Destiny. That'd be really interesting to me. That would. Almost like Blizzard's take on a FPS MMO. I think that'd be really interesting. But again, remember, people involved in this and the man in charge is from Far Cry, and Far Cry is a big open world. So we could come back sort of full circle to what we thought a few years ago, was that he...
Yeah, but will it just be a Far Cry with a Blizzard skin? Because if so, then who wants to play that? There's a reason why there hasn't been a Far Cry game in years. How many years? I don't know. I think people are sick of Far Cry. Or at least the last ones. I think the last good... Everyone says that Far Cry 3 was the last good one.
He has been brought in to work on a sort of RPG style FPS game. Maybe this could be a single player experience, but I think that would be very unlikely because Blizzard is generally focused on multiplayer experiences. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.
Yes, and how is that working out for them? Not that great.
The video, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, then let me know what you think about this in the comments below. But I'm actually really hyped for this. I'm so hyped it made me want to jump on and knock out a video on this, because I think this could be, hopefully, a really interesting game, at least, to see its development. All right, guys, I've been Stylosa, and I'll catch you lovely lot on the next video. See you soon.
No. No. What does the comment say? It's gonna be mobile, isn't it? Yeah. I find it hard to believe. Yeah. StarCraft is the last respectable franchise Blizzard has. I hope they don't fumble it. Yeah, StarCraft is the last respectable franchise that Blizzard has because they haven't done anything with it lately. I mean, Warcraft is dead. Diablo is not Diablo anymore. It's just an ARPG with the name. Finally, StarCraft Ghost. Yeah. Still playing StarCraft 2. We refuse to die. The esports is still amazing. Very curious to see where this goes. I'm not. I would be surprised if that goes anywhere.